Due to health and safety concerns related to COVID-19 coronavirus, this meeting will be conducted by video conference or telephone call. At least a quorum of the board will be participating by video conference or telephone call in accordance with the provisions of Section 551.125 or 551.127 of the Texas Government Code that have not been suspended by order of the governor. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify that all other meeting procedures will adhere to board-adopted procedures to the extent practicable. At this time, we will roll call the trustees in order to verify the virtual participation of each board member. Trustees, when your name is called, please acknowledge your participation in this meeting by stating either present or here. Ann Haynes, District 1. I do not see Ann just yet. Trina Stafford, District 2. Here. Thank you. I, Kim Butcher, District 3 trustee. I am present. Tish Woodruff, District 4 trustee. Here. Mike Rackley, District 5 trustee. I do not see Mike just yet. District 6, Aletha Cruz. I know she's here.
I'm here.
Just saw her. Roger Livingston, District 7.
Here.
Awesome. It has now been established that although members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference or telephone call. The meeting has been duly called. A notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with law. As such, I call this meeting of the Greenville Independent School District Board of Trustees to order, this emergency meeting at 5:34. Dr. Liggins, you want to, since this is a kind of a unique situation, I'll let you talk us through it.
Yes, Shannon, if you can come on as well. We trustees were asking, this was a last minute meeting that was put on today after calling Dr. Butcher for approval. I would like Shannon to present this need that requires your approval.
Yes, President Dr. Butcher, Dr. Liggins, members of the board. I want to present during this emergency meeting a need that we have in the district for a new content filtering system. As you all know, as a school district, we are required to have content filtering, and that includes remote learners as well. So along with all the many other challenges that COVID has given, one of them is remote content filtering. And the current provider that we have, to be honest, is just not keeping up with the task. We need a system that can, due to COVID, do content filtering remotely and do it well. And so this has been an issue that we've been working on with the company for a while, trying to get a solution together to work for our remote learners. And ultimately, have just come to the decision that we need to cut ties and go to a different provider that can get the job done, because that is a federal requirement for us. We need to make sure that they are being filtered when they are on our devices at home. So due to that, I have checked with a few different companies. One that you should be seeing. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. One of them that we are looking at is a little bit different of a solution. They actually bring equipment on site to do the filtering. And so just kind of going through the slide here, I kind of mentioned already content filtering. What that is for us is just making sure that students cannot get to inappropriate material. No system is 100% accurate with that. But we do need a system that can do that as best as possible while still being able to provide internet access. And the current situation that we have with COVID, that extends to being at home as well. So our need right now is we've spent numerous hours with the company that we currently have trying to troubleshoot ways to do content filtering remotely in a way that is reliable, and we haven't come up with a solution with them that is working to meet our needs. We currently pay roughly $16,000 a year for our content filtering. That is all cloud hosted, so it's basically just all up in the cloud, and that's what is supposed to be able to allow the filtering from anywhere. The new system that we're looking at is roughly $20,500 a year, so it is a little bit more of a cost increase, but it brings that cloud hosted solution into a solution that where we have the hardware on site. And so because we have the hardware here, we feel that it's going to be a better solution. And the total cost of this new system over 4 years is the $82,134.60 that you see there on the fourth bullet point. Due to COVID, they're willing to do a split payment with us, which basically they're prorating the year since we're jumping in kind of mid-year, in which we would pay $22,500 now, or really between now and December. They're going to give us from now until December to try the system and basically demo it with a few test computers, make sure that it's meeting our needs. Within that window, there is no obligation. So if it doesn't work, then we're not obligated to purchase or anything like that. When you're changing out content filtering, you really want to make sure that everything is working right. Otherwise, you could run into a case where nothing works at all. So, and then we would pay the remaining amount in August of next year. So they're kind of being flexible and working with us a little bit to help so we're not paying the lump sum up front this year, giving us that time to try the system, make sure that it's going to work. And as you see there kind of in the parentheses, the idea being since the second purchase or payment of this would be over $50,000, we would come back to the board in August for that remainder amount. We're here today because this is a multi-year agreement, and the total is over $50,000. So we definitely want to be transparent, make sure you all know what we're looking at. This comes with 2 filtering servers that will be on site. It's a 4-year subscription to the service. It comes with full installation and training by the company. And then the most important part during COVID is their mobile filtering platform that comes with this. One of those 2 servers is specifically for mobile filtering. And so when students are at home and they're on our devices, all of their internet traffic will be routed back to that system to make sure that the content that they are going to is appropriate. And again, this is all based on their proof of concept working well in our environment. I will say this has been sort of a rapid development with kind of while we're having the emergency meeting on it. We do have another vendor that I'm talking to that may be more cost effective as well, but they haven't provided any quote or details yet. The one I'm showing you though is the higher of the estimated, so it wouldn't be over any of the amounts that you're seeing here. So that's what I wanted to present, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes.
The current cloud hosted
I don't know if I lost.
You're frozen, Aletha.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Try again, Aletha.
We see you now. You're moving.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
There
can
we
hear
go.
you.
Okay, I said the current cloud hosted system or content filtering that we're using, are we in a contract with them right now?
Yes, we are. The contract with them provides more than just the filtering. They provide like the self-harm alerts and things like that for students as well. So it's more than just filtering that they provide. All the other parts of the service is working, and that's one of the reasons why we've been kind of hesitant to switch. But in troubleshooting over the past few weeks, as well as today especially, there's just not really a resolution that they've been able to provide that's consistent with on the filtering side, which is the main point of their service, really. So the idea is that we would switch filtering services, and depending on how everything goes with the agreement, I'm trying to work out an agreement with them to where we just basically get out of the contract. But they're not going to let us do that while we're still using their service, and we can't have really a day at school where we're not filtered. So we have to be on that other solution before we can try to get out from that contract.
I'm sorry, it completely went blank on my side. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you tell me again? I got the tail end of that, really. I don't know what's so unstable about my internet connection right now, but
Okay.
it is unstable.
Yeah, so we are under a contract right now. That company provides more services than just filtering for us. So we're going. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Aletha, can you check in, please? Huh. Let's give it a second. Aletha, are you there?
Can I ask a question while we're waiting for her?
Yes, she dropped from the meeting, so she may be trying to reconnect.
Oh, okay. Will the new system also pick up the other portion of what the current cloud system does?
Meaning the like self-harm alerts and things like that?
Yes.
So the solution that is proposed right here will not. It's simply content filtering. It does more on the like think of like cybersecurity side in a sense. It does more of those features. So what we would be looking at is if since this particular product cannot do that, we would see about keeping that portion of the other company under that agreement. However, the second option that I didn't get quotes for today, I literally contacted them today about this second option because of some of the issues that we've been having. And that second solution does do everything that we currently have. And I'm leaning towards them being probably cheaper overall because it's not like a bunch of extra hardware that we have to install. So I presented kind of the higher of what I expect to be the two bids, just so that you could kind of see the numbers. But to be honest, I really think it's going to be less. I'm looking at probably more about $18,000 a year overall, and just doing a 1-year agreement. And that provider would give everything that we currently have. We would have the same self-harm alerts, just a better experience with filtering as well as customer support and the additional mobile filtering due to COVID.
So, say we don't have COVID next year, which I certainly hope is the case, then we wouldn't need to be paying for 4 years for something that we don't really need.
Well, the issue is that we do have so like for example, even our early college high school students who take home their laptops, those laptops do have to be filtered, and those have been in the past have been filtered differently because of how this on-premise filtering server works. We would still have to continue to keep that server. However, with the second solution that I was mentioning, it would kind of just continue as normal, just like what we're doing now with the filtering. That system is also a cloud hosted system. So really either way, you're kind of stuck paying for the filtering because we are required to provide it if we have devices going home. It's just right now the capacity of how many devices we have at home are causing issues for our current provider.
Okay. How long would it take to set up another system?
So both providers that I've been talking to, we are requiring them to do a proof of concept to make sure that everything works before we do a full swap over. The one you see presented would probably take a couple weeks to fully implement. That's gonna have to be done somewhat after hours, just because of how when you do that, you have to take the whole system offline. So we would do that kind of over a few nights to make sure that we get it up and running. The proof of concept we can do during the day. We'll actually put their hardware here on site and then set up just a few of our different types of devices to connect to it and run that for a few days and make sure that it's working correctly, check the logs, make sure that people can get to what they need to, but not get to things that we don't want them to get to. And so with the second option, it's a much faster process just because they don't have to bring in any hardware. So we can just make some configuration changes on our end, and we'll do the same sort of scenario. We'll make a few changes on our end and test on a few devices for a few days and make sure that it's working the way that we would like. And then after that point, we can just make a global change in our system to be able to point it to the new service.
Okay.
So you're looking anywhere from really about a week to really test the system out to 2 to 3 weeks if you're going to go with the hardware based solution. And really it's going to boil down to on the decision-making process of which solution kind of meets that need of providing to our remote learners the best.
Aletha, you want to try to check in again?
I'm back. I'm on my phone. I think I probably have a better connection now.
Awesome.
But no, I think I'm good.
Okay. Do you need Shannon to repeat any of that?
Well, I didn't hear any of it, but I kind of got in the tail end of what he was talking about there with Trina. My question was just, I know that you answered the first part and I got the first part, Shannon. The only part that I didn't have answered was that what part of the 16,000 is it a part of a whole quote? Is it something that we can take out in the future? How many more years is left on that contract?
We have 1 year left on that contract, and it is a bundled price. However, the company has been made aware of the issue for a while, and so we can probably work with them to get some part of that split out to where we can have separate services. However, the part that I was talking to Ms. Stafford about is the second filtering option that we have includes all of those same services. So it may not be needed. If that is the case, then we would go back to that company to see just about a full, elimination of that third year of the contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the purchase over $50,000 for district remote access content filtering. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Roger, and I think I heard a second from Trina. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I believe that passed unanimously by all board members present. If I'm mistaken, speak up. Okay, so that's the end of our emergency meeting, so I will adjourn that meeting at 5:52.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe to stay legal, I'm going to need to read all this stuff again because we had to end the emergency meeting and start the new meeting. So I will read this again. Due to health and safety concerns related to COVID-19 coronavirus, this meeting will be conducted by video conference or telephone call. At least a quorum of the board will be participating by video conference or telephone call in accordance with the provisions of Section 551.125 or 551.127 of the Texas Government Code that have not been suspended by order of the governor. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify that all other meeting procedures will adhere to board-adopted procedures to the extent practicable. At this time, we will roll call the trustees in order to verify the virtual participation of each board member. Trustees, when your name is called, please acknowledge your participation in the meeting by stating present or here. Ann Haynes, District 1. Still not present. Trina Stafford, District 2.
Here.
I, Kim Butcher, District 3, am present. Tish Woodruff, District 4.
Here.
Mike Rackley, District 5. Still no Mike. District 6, Aletha Cruz.
Here.
District 7, Roger Livingston.
Here.
All right. It has now been established that although board members are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference or telephone call. This meeting has been duly called, and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with law. As such, I hereby call this meeting of the Greenville Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 5:54. All right. Dr. Liggins, would you like to do our invocation?
Absolutely. Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking you for your guidance, your wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our GISD community, dear Lord. Give the trustees wisdom as they make decisions that might impact our students and staff. We ask these things in your precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now we'll do the pledge all by ourselves without anybody helping us this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Shannon, do we have any public comments? Members of the public who desired to make comments were asked to email their comments by 5:30.
No, ma'am.
Do we have any to read? No, ma'am?
We do not.
No, sir, no, ma'am? Okay, well, if we had any, we would have read them verbatim. So we will move on.
I believe Mr. Rackley is joining us as well.
Oh, very good. So Mike Rackley is joining us at 5:56.
Sorry about that, folks.
No problem. We're just getting started on not the emergency meeting, but the regular called meeting. Do we have our auditors?
Shannon, has he tried to get into the meeting yet?
No, I have not seen anyone else join. I've been trying to watch the participants.
Yeah, I mean, as of 3:30 today, I talked to his secretary, and he was going to be in attendance, and I haven't heard otherwise. We try to see. I've been calling his office, and I just now got his cell number, so let me see if I'm able to. Sherry, are you getting in on the meeting? It started at 5:30. Okay, let me, okay. Let me let them know you're just running a few minutes and it'll be right on, okay? Okay, the auditor was working out of town today, so he was running a little late, but he said he's about 4 to 5 minutes from the office.
Okay. Does anyone have any unique talents or anything like that that we can
Well, we have
show?
a budget transfer we can discuss now.
Oh, okay. I thought we had to do, I guess we don't have to do one before the other, do we? Do we do that in open session or is that a?
It's an open session.
Okay. Well, let's just move right on then.
Okay. Well, as stated in the form, we have the state currently requires or recommends district have 25% of their annual operating cost in their budget. Due to your fiscal responsibility as a board throughout the last few years, we have surpassed that, and we are currently at 39% of our general budget for this school year, and that will also be verified through the audit report when he comes in. What we would recommend is transferring a total of $490,000 from the fund balance to the current payroll account that allows each GISD employee $500 payment that the board will decide when they would like to give that and payroll to the GISD staff.
Okay. Any questions about that from the board? I guess not. I'm hearing nothing. In which case, I will entertain a motion to approve the budget transfer as discussed.
So moved.
So,
Okay, I got a motion from Aletha, a second from Roger. Any further discussion?
Do we need to say the date as of right now or
no,
happen later?
they can happen later. That's not,
Okay.
that's more of an administrative task.
Okay.
We'll figure it out together.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Say aye or raise your hand. Any opposed? Hearing none, I believe that passes 6-0 unanimously from all present. All right, now we're back to special talents and entertainment. It's hard because
their special delivery today of the book.
Yes.
yes, it's tough when you can't add stuff to the agenda. We have to just, what do they call that in the theater when you do this?
Improvise. Can we ask?
All right.
Can we ask how Colleen is doing? Is she back at work?
She's on FMLA. She's in a neck brace, and but she says she's feeling a lot better each day. but she had to have surgery to have a pinched nerve or something repaired.
I don't recall getting one of these books from last year. Did we get one?
Every year.
I don't remember one from last year. I don't remember the board getting them, but
I don't think we got the book last year.
Really?
Yeah, I don't recall. Well, we usually give them back. I mean, we just get them back for the meeting and then return them. So.
I don't recall getting anything that looked like this.
I recall getting rid of a bunch of them. So maybe not last year though.
well, it's identical to the report also that you have in a soft copy that was emailed to you. So.
It's nice. I like to have something I can look at with my hands. I'm not necessarily always, I don't like looking at things of this detail just on the computer screen.
I have a gnat that's really getting annoying. So if I hit the screen, I'm not trying to clobber anybody. I'm just trying to get rid of the gnat.
Okay. We can't see you anyway because you don't have your camera on.
Oh, okay. Well, alrighty.
So we would just hear a ruckus.
Yeah. Hopefully a very small one.
And draw our own conclusions.
Well, we had a very successful state of the district this morning. We had probably about 50 people in attendance, and it was a video tour of students and staff in Greenville ISD in different departments. I thought for it to have been a COVID event different than we've ever done, I thought it went fairly well. What did you think, Ms. Stafford and Mr. Livingston were there?
I thought it was very well done. I'm hoping you're going to put it on the website so everybody can see it, or on Facebook, or
It's actually running on Juice channel.
on Juice. Okay.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it this morning.
Good. We had one particular young lady that graduated a few years ago that spoke about the quality of education she got here. And she went through A&M Commerce, and she talked about how her 3 majors, Robert's coming on, how her dual credit allowed her to get 3 majors in college, and now she's at SMU in their law program to become an attorney. So we had all sorts of kids. All right.
Great. Mr. Lake, are you here?
Muted.
You need to unmute if you are. He's just teasing us.
How's that?
There, I can hear you now. I can't see you.
Okay, let's see. How about now? Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Is there a button to push for video? Nope. Well, start my video. There we go.
There we go. Welcome.
Well, thank y'all for the opportunity to be here. I'm sorry I'm running a little late. One of those things that working down in East Texas today, and traffic is not what you hope it will be. I take it, do y'all have a report?
We have the report in front of us.
Okay, are y'all ready to start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, as always, let me thank y'all for the opportunity to be here. I'll try to go through it pretty quickly and just hit some of the high points. The report starts on page 5, which is the independent auditor's report. It's where we render our opinion as to whether or not the financial information presented does, in fact, present a fair picture of the district's finances as of and for the year ended June 30th. It's what we call an unmodified report. It's the best report you can receive. And then we follow that up with 2 additional reports that deal with compliance and internal control. And without going through them, other than to say that the first one deals with kind of overall compliance and internal control, and the second one deals with your major federal programs. Both of them are the best reports you can receive. No findings, no identified weaknesses in the internal control system. So again, great reports. On page 11, which is the summary of auditors' results. This is kind of an overview of the federal programs. I just want to use this page to point out that this year, your 2 major federal programs that we reviewed in detail were the child nutrition or food service cluster, and then your special ed cluster, which is made up of your IDEA-B and IDEA-B preschool programs. And then from there, we skip on over to page 16, which is the management's discussion and analysis. This section of the report just kind of provides a overview of the finances, kind of explains the financial statements and how they're put together. But if we'll turn over to page 18 and look at table A1, this is kind of a summary report of the statement of net position, more commonly referred to as like a balance sheet. Here you have your assets and your liabilities and your resulting net position. This MD&A section is the only section in the report that you'll see comparative data. So that's why I kind of like to point it out. But you can see there our total assets or our total cash for the year, a little about $24 million last year, a little over $30 million this year. So a fairly significant increase in the overall cash and investments for the district. Our total assets increased from 125 million up to over 128 million. If you break those things down and you look at the large category there, which is your capital assets, you'll see it decreased for the year. Well, that's basically due to the depreciation that gets charged off as we utilize those assets over a period of time. There's a systematic way that we drive those, or we in essence expense them off and put them into the overall operating activity. So that's to be expected. And then if we look at our total liabilities there, 129 million last year versus 123 million, a significant decrease there. When we get over to Exhibit A1, which is maybe the next, maybe not the next thing, but about 3 things that I'll talk about a little later, there's a little more detail there. What you'll see there, some of the reason of those liabilities, those pension liabilities we've talked about in the past, we can see those more specifically as we get on to Exhibit A1. And then our fund balance there, our net position there at the bottom of the page. Last year was a negative 1.7 million. This year is a positive, a little over a positive million. And then all the components of it there. That unrestricted continues to be a negative position, but most of that relates to the OPEB liabilities and the pension liabilities that you have to report in this part of the financial statements. And then at the bottom of the page down there, at the bottom of page 18, you'll see that we collected a little over 98% of our current year levy, property tax wise. When we throw in the penalty and interest, it's just a tad bit under 100%. I point that out just because that with COVID and all the economy shutdowns and everything, people losing their jobs and whatnot, most of that occurred after the quote-unquote property tax somewhat due date of January 31st. So had a good, what I would consider a good tax collection for the year. Not so sure that's the way it'll be next year, but only time will tell there. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you go through and you look at these things. And then if we go to table A2 on the next page, page 19, you'll see your revenues and expenses, and ultimately your change in net position there near the bottom of the page. You remember last year was the first year that y'all were operating under the June 30th year end. So when you kind of compare some of these numbers here, the differences, the percentage changes, realize that the 2019 column is only a 10-month period, whereas the 2020 column is a 12-month period. So when you look at 18% increase in instruction, not going to say that's all of it, but there is a big chunk of that relates to the fact that it's a 10-month period versus a 12-month period. But when we look at our bottom there, our total, we look at everything there. Our total revenues increased from 63 million up to 69, just a shy of 70 million. Our expenses 57 up to 66. And so when we look at our increase or decrease in net position there, last year is $6.6 million. This year, 2.7, almost $2.8 million. So here again, 10 months versus 12 months. But overall, I think we had a fairly good year. Okay. Then the next page shows that same exact information. It's just in a pie chart. You can see there that property taxes are about 43% of our total revenue, the state aid at 32%, and then the operating grants at another 23%. So those are the big three areas of our revenues that we have. And then under our expenses there, our expenses for instruction and instructional related services is 58%, which is, we're in the business of educating kids, the instructional process. So certainly that's where we want to see most of our funds expended. So again, a good report there as well. And then if we'll skip on over several pages, we'll get into the financial statements themselves. Page 25, Exhibit A1 is the statement of net position for the year. You can see here we have the same assets, $128 million, liabilities at $123, and our same total net position of $1,049. But for those of y'all that are interested in it, you can see there that our net position liability, about 2/3 of the way down the page there, the net pension liability is a little over $14.5 million, and our OPEB liability almost $19 million. So if we were to step back about 6 years and not have to report those things on our financial statements, things that we don't have any control over, we could be looking at, almost that would be about what, $20-30 million fund balance there. So as we go through, there's some other things there that would reduce that, but still, that's a big change in why that $17 million unrestricted number exists there. So just to keep y'all in the loop with that. And then Exhibit B1 on the next page is the statement of activities, which shows your revenues and expenses. It's got the exact same information, just a little bit different format. Just to kind of explain this format, the first column shows all of our expenses for the year. Then we charge people for things. The biggest thing there is athletic events or meals served in the cafeteria and whatnot. Then we get operating grants, those things like our title funds, our Head Start funds, all of those types of things, along with funds that the state contributes on your behalf, say like their matching portion of the pension expense for the district and whatnot. So that's what is represented in the third column there. Then the last column is, well, once we take those things away, that's what we have to fund with our property taxes and the funds that we receive from the state. So you can see that then we get down to the bottom kind of section there. There's our general revenue, our property taxes, our Our grant contributions not restricted to specific programs. That's our foundation aid and per capita or available funding at almost $53 million from the state. And then we show that's what our change in net position. We add that to the beginning of the year. We come back to that same $1,049,000 end of the year. And from here on, we'll start talking about what are called fund financial statements. They have a little bit different basis of accounting. You see your money on a monthly basis. You'll see your total assets, liabilities, and resulting fund balances here. $23 million in the general fund, total assets, 17, almost 18 million, which was cash and investments. And across all funds, $29 million of cash and investments with $38 million in total assets. Our liabilities there, our largest liability is what we owe the teachers as of June 30th. We still have 2 months of payroll that they've earned that we reflect as a liability. Then we get down into our fund balances there. You can see there that in the general fund, our fund balance for the year's just a bit shy of $18 million. The debt service fund at $7.3 million. And then all the other funds combined is a little over $5.5 million. And from there we get into Exhibit C3, 2 pages over, page 29. Here's kind of the meat and potatoes of everything. Here's our total revenue sources, our total expenditures, any other resources and uses, and then ultimately our net change in fund balance. You can see there that the general fund generated a little over $50 million in revenue this past year, and across all funds, $67 million. Our expenses in the general fund, $46 million, and $62 million across all funds. Y'all transferred $3.5 million out of the general fund, set it over into a capital projects fund for future construction, whatnot. You can see that transfer that took place. So line 1200 is our net income increase or decrease, net income or net loss for the year. You can see there that even after that $3.5 million transfer, we still had a $447,000 increase in our overall fund balance. The debt service fund, $972,000 to the good, and then across all other funds, 3.7. If you take that 3.5 out, it'd be about $300,000 there. So grand total across all funds for the year, $5.2 million. Okay, now from there we just get into some other financial statements. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with them other than to say that they're there. We get them over and we get into the notes, the financial statements. The notes just provide the reader of the financial statements with additional information, kind of explain some of the accounting policies and whatnot. But if we'll skip on over to page, let's try page 46. Here's your capital assets, biggest number in the financial statements and whatnot. You can see here that we've got $1 million invested in land. These are all historical costs. These are not the current values by any means. From the accounting standpoint, we always report historical costs. You can see there that our buildings and improvements a little over $140 million, and the other equipment, vehicles and whatnot, grand total of $140 million have been invested in assets. We depreciate things, $60 million in depreciation. So when we put all that together, our total net value of all of our governmental activities, capital assets, a little over. And down below, you can see there, we talked a little bit about depreciation earlier. You can see we charged off $4.2 million of depreciation during the current year. At the bottom of the page is kind of a summary of our long-term debt activity. You can see here we started the year off with $85 million in long-term debt. We've retired a little over $2 million. So as of the end of the year, we had $83 million in debt. And the next couple of pages show what our maturities are, what we're going to have to pay on that debt over the next few years. And then you get into the pension note and the OPEB note. I'm not even going to mention them unless somebody really wants to go through them. Get on over into one note back here on page 61. We're all concerned about state aid and how does the state pay us. The state pays us, kind of gives us an estimate up front, and then we get around to the middle of the summer after we've had all the attendance and whatnot. We report our pink numbers, and then lo and behold, they come back and we do what's called a near final settle up. That near final settle up is based on property tax information that the district provides to TEA, as well as the attendance numbers that are submitted during the summer. And so what we see here is that those four little categories there are where our state money, the big numbers of state money, are available. Foundation, IFA, and EDA. IFA and EDA relate to our bonded indebtedness. And so as our property value wealth continues to go up around the district, those payments for EDA and IFA seem to get smaller and smaller. And so, but the big numbers are the available in the foundation. You can see there that we generated a little over $20 million in foundation and a little over $1.5 million in available. And then there at the bottom, you'll see that because the fiscal year is June 30th, the state's fiscal year is still August 31st. So they have what we're represented here is scheduled payments on the current year funding that they haven't paid you yet. That's scheduled out at $5.8 million. And you will receive those. In fact, you have received those payments from the state. And then the settle up amounts shows that we were overpaid this year, $2.4 million. So with all of the things that have gone on this year, probably not something to be too concerned about, but we need to make sure that as we submit information to the state so they can prepare their payments or what they are going to send us, we might want to look at those numbers and try to adjust them to where our settle up is not quite as dramatic as $2.5 million. I mean, this was a kind of a unique year, and everybody's kind of out there. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go forward into future periods. Okay. And then from there, we get into just about maybe 4 or 5 more schedules. On page 64 is the budget comparison schedule. This is always an interesting schedule because, throughout the year, we start off with a budget, we make changes, things happen during the year and whatnot. And so how do we end up the year? You can see there that our revenues were a little bit short of what we had estimated, about $389,000, but our total expenditures, which is what the law relates to, one of the laws is that you can't quote unquote spend money without a budget. So it's always nice when I can tell a board that each one of the functional categories finished in the black, and in fact we actually ended the year almost $4.2 million under budget for the year. So that's a good reflection on management and their attention to the budget, making sure that things are appropriately taken care of as they go through the year's finances. And then you can see in the actual column, which is the third column, you can see that it comes back to the same $447,000 increase that we saw earlier in our financial statements. Okay, there's a couple more pension schedules here and whatnot. We'll go on over to page 72. Here's the schedule of delinquent taxes receivable. You can see here that we started the year off at a little over $2 million in delinquent taxes. We levied almost just a hair bit under $30 million. We basically collected that, a little less in collections. We had some adjustments, always some adjustments that happened. And so we ended the year at $2,181,000, about $100,000 increase over last year. This is about the 15th one of these I've done this year. And 100% of them have all had increases. There's been no school district that has collected more of their tax roll this year than what they had delinquent last year. So you're pretty much trending like everybody else. It's a small increase. It's not a huge increase. As I like to tell people that as the property values go up and the rates kind of stick around the same thing, we're generating more tax dollars than we collected last year. So anybody that didn't pay their taxes last year and they're not paying them this year, you would see a potential increase anyway. So I always say that you just have to kind of continue to work with your delinquent tax attorney, make sure that they're aware that these taxes have increased and that that's money that y'all would like to see in the pockets so y'all can prepare for the kids. And then one last schedule, page 76 and 77. We all have to deal with federal taxes and whatnot. Well, how much federal taxes come back to the district? How much do we participate there? What you can see there at the bottom of page 77, the district benefited some $8 million, almost $8.1 million in federal funding from federal government through the TEA or other sources. So overall, I think it's a great report. Has anybody got a question? I know I've gone through it pretty quickly, just trying to hit the high points. Be happy to answer anything that I can.
Anybody have questions? I guess not.
Okay.
I guess that was pretty thorough.
I'm as a boring as any accountant can be. Well, let me thank y'all for the opportunity to do this, and also want to thank Sherry and the staff there at the administration building, Dr. Liggins as well. Always been very, very supportive, very helpful in getting the numbers together, and really makes it a pleasant experience for us, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Well, appreciate you. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
All right, then. If there is no further discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve our annual financial audit report.
So moved.
Motion from Aletha. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Roger. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I believe that passes 6-0, unanimous by all present. All right. Do we need a closed session, Dr. Liggins?
No, ma'am, unless you do.
No, sir. I do not. Let's see. So we have no action on. Okay, so we'll move on to future agenda information items. Anybody have anything to?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, he mentioned something about our taxes that we've collected that we haven't collected. Can you respond to that, Mr. Lake? What were you saying on the taxes? Have we not collected all of our property taxes?
Is Mr. Lake still there?
I'm still here. Well, there's always people that owe taxes. I mean, it's just part of life, and so.
Now, is it more this year than it was last year?
It's a little bit more, about $100,000 more than it was last year.
Okay.
I mean, on $30 million, that's not a significant amount, but as with anything, when you start talking about taxes, we don't want them to get out of hand. So that's why I always mention visiting with your delinquent tax attorney and point out that, well, we know they went up. So just keep an eye on them and keep working to get them collected.
Dr. Liggins, are we doing that? Because, we switched companies because of the issue of not collecting all the unpaid taxes.
Yes.
And now we're up, it doesn't seem like it's any better than before. Have you followed up with them on this
In fact,
one?
I think a couple of weeks ago I had a meeting with with Randy Weininger and Jeff Brown to discuss it. There was a little bit of overhang, I guess, so to speak, from the previous tax attorneys and these tax attorneys. So they were still tying up some loose ends where the new ones were coming in to try to take over some things. And I think we finally got that straightened out. And so now we have one attorney working to get things done. So hopefully we'll see a big difference moving forward, because I think you had some people thinking the right hand was doing what the left hand wasn't doing, and no one was really doing either. So I think that was the issue. But we met, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, talked about it and got it straightened out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other future agenda or information items from anyone? Okay, so I guess our next meeting is November the 20th, yes?
Our regular board meeting, yes.
We have nothing else in between now and then.
No, I will be emailing you guys some dates about the earlier vote options, and that may be after that meeting anyway, so we'll see.
So we're meeting on a Friday? You said
No.
November 20th, but that's a Friday.
Well, then that's wrong. Hang on. I thought it was November 20th.
November 17th.
Okay, well,
17th is our next.
I don't know why I had the 20th in my head.
Maybe you're going
That's
somewhere.
Oh, that was the October meeting. It was October 20th. November 17th. My bad. November 17th. But if you want to come on the 20th, that's fine, Tish. You can come on back.
That's okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Making an adjustment in the ADA.
We went pretty conservative this year. We're also, the state is allowing statewide for us to have hold harmless for the first semester as we adjust to COVID and some kids being at home and some kids being at school. So at this point, we were okay. If we were taking our current attendance as is, we would probably be in some danger. But because they're having to hold harmless for now, we're looking at something that we're completely aware of and on top of. In fact, it's almost a daily discussion and calculation. So at this point, we'll be okay. But we may second semester have to come back if things don't get better. We're hoping by then things will have smoothed out and kids will be more into their routines.
Okay. Anything else to come before this board? Hearing none, I will adjourn this meeting at 6:35. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good evening.
Two.